Season 15, serial number 5, episode 96 overall. The penultimate episode in season 15, dear.
Oh, boy.
Underworld. This is an episode, I believe.
I mean, it's an episode.
It sure is an episode that, let me tell you, it's got a reputation.
It's an episode.
What happens in it, dear?
Alright, so Leela is fucking with the controls of the TARDIS. Silly Leela, driving is for women. Why are you trying to pilot the TARDIS? It stops. But, like, what have I done? We've stopped. I don't understand. And the doctor's like, what? Why have we stopped? I don't understand. And apparently they're at the edge of everything. And K9 is also like,
as you are.
We're not alone, but no one seems to notice repeatedly that the K9 is saying that they are not alone. There's someone in their vicinity, but they can't see it, but they can hear it. So what the fuck? On screen, we see a big old light. It's a nebula. A nebula.
Nebula.
Yes. The creation.
It's a fucking nebula over here.
It is the creation of all life, and it is sucking in the TARDIS to make planets. Then they go directly to where that other ship is to stay safe by teleporting and swooshing out. Everyone here has tube suits, and they don't recognize the sound of the TARDIS, and they're like, what's that? That's weird. Walking onto where they landed, the Doctor finds an artifact from 1 billion years ago on the other side of the universe, and that's weird. Why is it here, and where? How did it get here? Apparently, the two bro things, the TARDIS is a ship of the gods, by the way, and then the Doctor confirms this by cutting back to him and saying, we acted like gods to these people, then they chased us off and there was a war. It was really bad. One of the 2B goes, God's just playing with people and I would like to kill them. And Leader Tube is like, dude, shut up, sit down, no one cares. The Lady 2B is very crusty and out of it, which kind of sucks. But she, of course, faints, and the ship flies straight to the nebula, stating again, women should not drive. And K9, K9's blaster is fucking up, so he can't use it, apparently. So Leela just uses this random thing she found. Could have been a bomb, you know, Leela, but I guess it's fine. And the ship seems to be okay now, and leveled, and they need to seriously get away and make a hard left of the nebula. Apparently, she forcibly went past her regen point, the old Tubi lady. So, because she just doesn't care anymore. So, but she's regened. It's fine. Black-haired Tubi is very upset, wants to kill the Doctor and whatever. Leela comes in, then gets brainwashed somehow with a pacifier, apparently. It's literally just a pacifier ray.
They stick a pacifier in her mouth.
Yes. We also then pacify dark-haired Tubi boy. Leela's now on fucking drugs, and she's gonna be like this for hours. Don't worry about it. So look, there's the problems. We can't regen, and we can't pilot with these problems. The Doctor's like, I'm gonna look at it. Then someone in another room is watching something on TV that's tiny, and we see that the lady has regened and gotten much younger. Good for her. The Olay is working on those pores. Apparently another ship was headed out with their entire race looking for a new planet. K9 is put in charge of the ship and the entire fucking ship, by the way, and he saves the day steering them away from the nebula. Black-haired Tubi
Huzzah!
is still upset. Because...
And dear is still tired.
No, I'm having trouble getting oxygen, but yes.
Oh, man. Wait, that makes you tired?
Yes. Well, it makes you yawn. Lack of oxygen makes you yawn because it's the body's response to not having oxygen is to take like a deep breath.
Oh, I think I've realized a component of my health.
Yeah?
Because this is a big tangent, but I don't fucking care. This is Underworld. This is an episode that I don't care going on a tangent with. I've been having... you know how sometimes, like, after you do a little bit of activity, you sort of stand still and then you, like, take a deep breath and then you sort of realize, oh, wait, hang on a second. My normal breathing, like, isn't getting enough oxygen.
Yes.
Like, your body just sort of, like glomps onto the new mass amount of oxygen and you're just like,
yes.
Oh, fuck, I'm not breathing enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been getting that with not even just doing exercise.
Yeah, so, that's a thing. We'll talk about that off podcast. The doctor then tempts Leela out of her pacification, and she thinks everyone's laughing at her, and it really kind of sucks. Actually, from my point of view, it kind of sucks. Now they've locked onto this thing and have to track it and not to lose it because they found the ship, but the ship is in the nebula, and the nebula must have grown around the ship instead. The quest here is to get to that fucking ship, so they have to do that quest. They hold the doctor at laser gunpoint, technically, and force him to tell K9 to drive into the nebula. Everybody takes a seat, let's go. It's weird, everything seems to be fine, though, but they're losing acceleration and signal.
We're all fine.
And they're drifting, but they're also not great. And the doctor's like, this is fine. And they're like, the entire hull is collecting things and becoming a planet because we're a big thing that just drove into a gravitational pull. So now that we're big enough, we have a gravitational pull. And the more things that we attach to us, the more gravity we... It's not how it works. Anyway, so they just plan on shooting off the rocks and stuff. And they're like, oh no, the cannon's disintegrating. What do we do?
And then everyone dies.
Yeah. Yep.
So, this episode, according to the production notes of it, the recently released Star Wars TM influenced certain aspects of the production, especially when it was learned that the film would be released in the UK 10 days before the episode was scheduled to air. So they took stuff from it and was like, let's make a thing. Says good old thing.
Yeah.
This episode also is kind of infamous for its excessive use of color separation overlay, or CSO, which is essentially blue screen or green screen.
Shocking. I couldn't even tell.
Yeah, I know, right? It's mainly they use it because rapid inflation at the time meant they had no fucking money at all to pay for anything. And they wanted the final episode of the season to have the big budget. So they were like, well, we need to reduce costs somewhere. So they were like, what if instead of building sets for this episode, we just use CSO everywhere and build like miniature sets? It's awful. It looks awful. Even for the time, it looks awful. Perspective is all off in some scenes. There are scenes where like people are superimposed over the rock. Like there's a whole scene where K9 is like technically floating when he's not meant to be. Over-reliance on CSO with this is like real bad. Real fucking bad. Plus also the episode has another problem in that all 4 episodes ran short of their allotted running time, so they had to use extended and repeated shots for padding. Parts 2 and 3 in particular were in much need of padding, that like the episode recaps were a lot longer than normal in both of them. Yeah, it's a bit of a story. What happened in part 2, dear?
Well, they get... Sorry, I made myself giggle like a child. They get full penetration and shoot their way out of the meteor.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
God damn it, stop. You're making me laugh, which takes in more air. Fuck.
Oh no. Deer's got a mass influx of hydrogen. Deer's becoming the Big Bang.
Oh yeah, let me tell you all about it. Bang this ass. Anyway, and now we run into a planet probably formed around our other ship. It's apparently a soft planet. It doesn't mean it basically means it hasn't fully formed yet. Don't really think about it. They land and they go, we must be on top of it, and cut to hundreds of people screaming that the sky is falling on them and killing people. Also, someone in a fleece suit is watching them and they want to set up for a sacrifice because it makes the others work harder. Meanwhile, ship guys are like, we should head down to the core. Also inside, the man prophesizing that they should all escape the chambers and tunnels and stuff to go to the stars. And he's gonna get the old sacrificing stick. So that sucks.
Good old sacrificial stick.
His son tries to stop it, but they're like, stop him, and then off he goes. Well, the doctor and them blast their way into the planet. And then the Fleece Boys find where they blasted through and are confused about what happened. Everyone heads off on a quest, and the doctor is told to stay behind, which they don't. They leave K9 in the ship again. Something about radiation from granite, but then the sun runs the fuck past them, followed by the Fleece Boys, and the doctor and Leela is just kind of like, let's sneak this way, and so we're not seen. Oh no, we're seen. And then the Fleece just decide to fumigate everything to get rid of whoever and shut down the entire area. Leela, where's the kid? Once he calls them both gods. His ankle kind of hurts. They put a band-aid on it. He's fine. The main crew are still continuing to wander around the area, finding nothing. They send black-haired Tubi off on his own to recon. He is immediately followed. The other three, of course, also get followed. Black-haired Tubi nearly gets shot, but he shoots first. Because he answers the radio, they instantly close down the tunnel and try to kill him. The doctor tells Sun he's from the stars, and he's like, what the fuck are you saying? I've never even seen a star. But then we note that the gas is coming from the ship to kill everyone, and they drag the now passed out Sun into the, basically the driver's room, the main room. Leela and Sun head to the command deck, I guess. The doctor just walks through all the smoke and finds a gas-making machine, and he's like, well, if it blows, then it sucks. Am I right, guys? And then he almost passes out. He probably passed out, almost dies on the machine trying to turn it off. Yeah. That was it, by the way.
That was it?
Mm-hmm.
That's it? The entire episode's over?
Yeah, that was yeah.
Oh, okay. So initially, at the gas in the second episode, Leela was meant to scream and when overwhelmed by the gas. But Louise Jameson refused to do this because she said that would be incredibly out of character for Leela. Why would Leela scream in terror? She is not someone who screams in terror. So she refused to do it. Which, good. She understood the character better than the writer. The budgetary restrictions were so tight on the episode that they considered actually cancelling it altogether and just allotting its budget to the final episode. But the producer vetoed it and was like, no, we can still make the episode. Which, funnily enough, 3 polls conducted by Doctor Who magazine, the sort of overarching magazine that's been done since, I think it started in the 70s and it's still going to this day. In 1998, 2009, and 2014, Underworld has maintained the dubious honor of being the story of the Fourth Doctor's era held in the least regard. Poll in 2003, which is a different voting system, had it as one of 6 Fourth Doctor stories that received 0 votes, making it joint last. Its lowest ranking came in 2009 in the 2009 poll, The Mighty 200, as one of the worst stories ranked among the 200 aired at time, at 197. I don't have the list in front of me, but I know what numbers 200, 199, and 198 are, and we have not gotten to them yet. Oh, maybe one of them we may have already watched, but it's there are some terrible episodes ahead, and partially terrible because they're terribly written, but also partially terrible because the decisions made to when to include them were really weird. But yes, partially reason why all the scenes on the alien planet are all CSO is because the Minyan spacecraft set turned out to be way more expensive than they anticipated, so everything else, they were just like, shit, well, we'll have this cohesion with the ship, and then everything else will be CSO, which, rewatching this, I feel a little bit sad, because the miniature work in this is really adorable. Like, the ship going into the planet, into the gas, and the rocks all coming to coalesce to form, the planet around the ship. It's really neat looking. But, the rest of it looks like dog shit. What happens in part 3?
Well, he reverses at the last second, and the film reverses too, by the way. It's great. Awesome. All the gas goes somewhere. It goes to the fleece dudes, and they're like, shut it off. Maybe, oh god. And then also tubes broke their brethren out of his cage. Also parts were looted from the original ship, apparently. So there's absolutely a connection between the original ship and everything that's going on. Leela is telling Sun about the ship. He's like, yeah, they have one like this. And that's where the sacrificing room is. And they're like, what? They're like, let's go save your dad. And they're like, why has no one ever rebelled here? He's like, well, they kill us mostly. And the doctor says, shut up, let me talk to K9. And then they have a map. And the K9 is sent to go get Tube Crew. And the dude's like, look, it's a tree. It's the tree, I know this. But this path here is...
the tree at the end of the world!
This path here is headed by dragons, so we can't go that way. They go that way. That dragon is just a mechanism, and they blow it up, and they enter the center of the Earth. And... they do a zero gravity bit that I don't want to talk about. Science.
That's not how gravity works.
Anyway, back to the sacrifice chamber where I do a sacrifice. The supposed weird voices, the seers, and are like, ask the sword a question. And meanwhile, we see everyone being told about how the sacrifices go while they keep floating. K9 finds the tube people. The doctor is no longer floating, walk across the bridge, and get captured. Some are put into prison. Some are brought to sacrifice to watch. Everyone is going to ask the question of the sword now, but oops, we accidentally saved the old man, and it's a revolution now. Everyone's escaping, fighting.
Revolution!
Even dark-haired tubey dude is like, I'm gonna die for this for no fucking reason. And then they basically learned that there's nothing but tunnels for fuel and food and so on. It's just a circle. They're like, wait, so if you don't know what a tree is, why would you call it a tree? That's weird. Also, myth something might be true. And then they keep asking black-haired tubey dude where he's from, and they keep saying, the same as you, idiots. And they're like, no, you're lying. We're your fleece. How could you be a minion? And they apparently are actually different species, or they're the same species that evolved past what other minions were. I don't know. The seers are all powerful. They plan to sneak in, by the way. The doctor plans to sneak in and execute a plan. Cut straight to the doctor being poured into a rock crusher. Anyway, that's his plan.
Yep, and then they died. That's yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, sorry, I'm just reading up on just how bad the financial situation was. To put it in perspective of just how bad it was, when they had come back from the break, of the sort of production break that they had of a few months, the story was 3 times more expensive than the series could afford. So inflation really got out of control in the late 70s, due to a lot of factors that, you know, we can't really talk about here. There's a lot wrong. But there may have been something else that I teased in the last episode and Dia got very angry about. The story makes frequent allusion to the story of Jason and the Argonauts and a few other Greek myths, including naming similar things to characters. Jackson is Jason, Herrick is Heracles, Tala is Atlanta, Orph is Orpheus, Minions, Minoans. This one you're gonna hate, dear. You know the ship P7E? Yeah?
I got it. No, I got it. I got the joke.
P7E?
Yeah, I get it.
Persephone? Okay.
Oh, yeah, I got it. I'm still fucking angry.
And R1C, which is Argo C.
Mm-hmm.
It makes frequent allusions to it throughout the story. It's I mean, science fiction retelling sort of Greek myths, etc., is hardly new. It's something that's been about for a very, very, very long time, but I always find it funny with this one. I mean, to the point where this when it was released on DVD, this episode was released with a few other DVDs. The Time Monster, which we watched, which was the third Doctor episode, and The Horns of Nimon, which is another fourth Doctor episode that we'll get to in time. All of which are focused on loose retellings of Greek-styled myths and stories. This one is a little bit more overt, and they even pointed out during the episode quite a lot. But yeah, this is such a nothing real episode. There's like you could go through all of the errors with CSO that they have, but also there's no point to it. But the episode itself is not very high in regard mainly because of the budgetary constraints. I personally believe if they had the budget, they may have been able to salvage this episode to make it just a fine episode, but because like you can see what they're going for within it, but man, the budgetary constraints just make it so bad. But that's how things are, I guess. What happens in the final part, dude?
Well, they sneak in because they weren't actually put in a rocket crusher, and they shoot some guns, and Leela senses evil, and they see a vent, and they get in the vent. Everybody get into it so we can't be hunted, but the oracles and seers are currently not winning.
Just like Star Wars.
The fight, so that's fun. So the general is like, hey, if you absolutely betray everyone, black-haired 2B guy, we'll let you go or something. And he's like, okay. And then the Leela and Doctor and Son are sneaking through the vents to find some police boys, and the voice behind the curtain, the seer, is just like, they'll kill themselves, it's fine. And she gives them a cylinder of something. And it's basically a cylinder of cum. And the tubes are the
cum cylinder
that the other tube guy will be executed, but then he just walks towards them and hands them the sperm cylinders, and everyone can leave. So yeah, because that was their whole mission, was to find the genetic DNA of their old planet.
The race bank, also known as the cum cylinder.
It's the cum cylinder. And meanwhile, everybody leaves and they climb out of the vent, and the doctor's ready to talk to the oracle. The doctor's like, I'm a god, who the fuck are you? And she's like, I'm your god from way back when, but also, oops. And he's like, you're just an asshole. But then it goes, I keep the race bank. And the doctor uses a key, which is a sword, of course, and he gets the actual real cum cylinders, and he's like, okay, let's leave. Well, the Feltmen run in and try to kill them, but whoops, they're in the vents again. They can't catch them. Into the tunnels they go. The doctor thinks about what they actually gave the 2B guys, because these were the real ones. That's weird. Wonder what it was. K9 refuses to leave without the doctor. So off goes K9 to go get him before the ship takes off. Doctor's trapped now in a tunnel, but they'll get dug out at some point because they have something everybody wants: the cum cylinders. Ship is ready to go. K9
the cum cylinders.
Laser busts a hole in the wall. Everyone needs to run fast now in the ship. And by the way, I have them. I'm here. I have the cum cylinder. Those are fake. These are grenades. They're
fake cum.
They're basically nuclear bombs. We should probably get rid of them. Can't defuse them because we said so. Doctor runs off, Leela follows. Oracle's angry about a lot of things. Doctor runs into the police boys. They take the grenades thinking that they're the real thing. Doctor's like, no, wait. And they're like, no. And then Leela runs up and shoots all of the people holding him hostage. And they're like, let's just go to the ship. And they're like, okay. And then they get all the slaves onto the ship. And the police boys are like, haha, we won. And then the Oracle's like, no, those are bombs. Get rid of them. Defuse them. And she's like, oh, wait, I made it so they can't be defused. And everyone on the ship is like, we don't have power. And then just because it's because of the extra weight, right? Haha. And the Oracle's like, I'll just die now. And then another 70 years to Minos and we'll be good. Because the power of the explosion shoots them into space. Back into the TARDIS we go. Bye, guys. Doctor misnamed one of the dudes it pursues hilarity, and we reference Jason and the Argonauts, and then we get angry at K9 for not believing in stories, and that's fucking it.
Yeah, how dare you, K9, not believe in stories, fucking dumb dog. Fucking dumb, stupid, dumb dog.
Anyway.
Dumb.
Yeah.
Dumb.
What do you rate this episode, Gam? I'm curious.
Personally, for me, it's a 2.
Ooh.
I really, really, really like the costume design of God, I forgot their names. The slave masters, essentially, of
Fleece
the
Boys.
planet. The Fleece Boys, and also like the dudes with helmets, like they're kind of just glossed over. It's just like, oh, it's like, is that a helmet or is that just what they look like now? Like, are they robots? Like, what are? It's like, we don't have time. It's like, but we just had 2 episodes of padding. Can we get like explanation of this? It's like, no. But it's so hard to watch because like the model work and the costumes I really like. The story I don't really mind. I think the story's okay. But like, man, that CSO makes it really hard to watch. Because like, A, you can barely see what's on it. But also, B, it's like, it's like there's no real thought put into the story of like why it's like this. It's kind of just like, well, we're doing this story, and it's like, why? And it's like, well, because we have to. And it's like, do we have to? It's like, why? Come on.
Anyway, did you know I also rated this a 2? And I pretty much never want to watch it again.
No, but I do now.
Never want to see it again.
No, it's one of those episodes that I bought on DVD, opened it up, looked at it, watched it for the first time, and was like, well, I'm glad I've watched it, but I never really want to watch that again. Not because I hated it, but just because it was like, it's not worth watching again. Even if you really like sort of Greek myths in a Doctor Who thing, there are better things you can go to, better episodes, better shit you can go to if you like Greek myths in Doctor Who. So many better things. But yeah, no, that's completely fair, dear. A 2. Like, this is an episode where I was like, I wasn't expecting or hoping for you to rate it high because I don't think it deserves to be rated high at all. I'm not lying when I say it has a very very bad reputation for it. But that means we move on to the final episode of season 15. Dear, I'll let you guess the title. The Blank of Time.
Clock.
No, not the Clock of Time. Although that would be a funny name. You get 2 more guesses.
Person, place, or thing.
Thing? Action.
Collision.
No. But you are closer than you were with clock.
Crash.
What's your final answer?
No, not crash.
Invasion.
Okay.
Deer's crashing.
Yeah.
The Invasion of Time. A script that we'll get to it.
Yep.
A lot happens in it. A lot of weird stuff. But the Invasion of Time, a lot happens. There's a link between this and a whole heap of other shit that happens within extended universe and such. Certain faces may be returning.
I hope you know that I'm never gonna trust you again if you're like, do you like mythology, dear? And you're Doctor Who? And I got so excited for this fucking episode. I got so excited. Thinking
I'm gonna do that when we get to the Horns and Naimon, because the thing is, I know you're gonna forget.
Because I was so fucking excited thinking that there'd be actual mythology stuff that I am actually deeply interested in for the most part, unlike you in most cases. And honestly,
all of the Greek mythology we did back in the 3rd Doctor's era.
I feel like Barry after the Crane game.
Yeah, but the Crane game was fun. Oh, I see what you mean. this is fun to you.
Fuck off! Get out of my house!
I'm not in your house. You're in my house.
You're in my audio house.
AudioJungle.com. See you next time for the invasion of time.
Goodbye.
It's a 6-parter, by the way.
Fuck!